Extreme Monsters, Book 1, The Blue Moon Effect. Chapter 3, Once in a Blue Moon. The extreme monsters were in an uproar. The Halloween Games were the sports event of the year in Monstery Valley, a 5-hour festival of X contests and entertainment. The celebration combined Halloween glamour and bliss with extreme thrills and chills. No fan was admitted without a Halloween costume. Competitions always paused at midnight for a costume parade and rock concert. This year the featured act was the Numbskulls, the hottest zombie metal band in the world. The extreme monsters were looking forward to the games for weeks. It was unthinkable that they would have to withdraw from the competition. The monsters all shouted their protests at once, except Val. No one was willing to let anyone else speak. Val saw that Doc was losing his patience. Minutes passed, but the hubbub showed no sign of ending. Doc wheeled around abruptly and strode toward his LUV. "Wait, Doc, don't leave," cried Val. "Who said anything about leaving?" Doc called back. "I'm going to print something out for my computer. It's the only way I can persuade you kids of the seriousness of my request." He disappeared into the vehicle. Val knew he had only a few minutes to get his friends back in line. He raised 2 fingers to his lips and blew hard. Wheat! The extreme monsters fell silent. Val quickly gathered everyone around. This time the discussion of a pullout went smoothly. All of the monsters, except Bela, strongly opposed skipping the games. "We can't pull out," declared Wolf. "It's against the Monster Code of Honor." Jinx looked at Wolf and rolled her eyes. "There's no such thing as a Monster Code of Honor," she said. "Well, there should be," shrugged Wolf. "Halloween is the one day of the year when everyone can find out how much fun it is to be a monster," added Steiner, his voice choking with emotion. "How would it look if the extreme monsters didn't show?" "I'll bet it's Damon Christopher and his pendant goons. Someone ought to put a stop to that menace," Wolf muttered. "And I know who's just the witch to do it," said Jinx. With that, she snapped her fingers. A magic wand appeared out of thin air. Before anyone could stop her, she'd grabbed it and began chanting. "Smelly hemlock, lawn unmowed, lizard's lost sock, mucky road. Make Damon Christopher a creeping "Stop, Jinx, don't finish that spell," Val cried out. He reached over and yanked the wand from her hand. "You know the rules. No black magic. Ever." Jinx folded her arms across her chest. "Party pooper," she grumped. "Nobody stopped Damon Christopher from ruining my luge. He deserves to be turned into a toad." "Toad's too good for him, Jinx," quipped Wolf. "Make him a dust bunny." He grinned as he skated lazy figure eights in front of Val's workbench. Val rolled his eyes. "No toads, no dust bunnies, no nothing. We don't turn people into creatures or things, not even the bad guys." "Ahem." Doc cleared his throat loudly. "Are you all quite finished?" He was standing in the middle of the garage, clutching what looked like a rolled-up poster. Val stepped forward nervously. "We've been talking, Doc," he said, "and we just can't agree with you. We've decided it would be wrong to withdraw from the games just because of Damon." Doc raised his eyebrows. "Who said anything about Damon Christopher?" he said. "I would never ask you to pull out just because of his shenanigans." "But you said—" "I got to say precious little, if you remember," Doc remarked tartly. "You kids were doing all the talking, and jumping to extremely wild conclusions, I might add." Jinx spoke up. "But if Damon isn't the problem, Doc, then who is?" "Not who, Jinx. What?" The extreme monsters glanced back and forth at each other in puzzlement. "Look, it's easier for me to show you than explain," Doc said. He unrolled the poster on Val's workbench. "I don't get it," blurted out Steiner. "It's a picture of the Earth surrounded by a swarm of blue moons." "Right you are, my boy," Doc said. "What you see here are all the known occurrences of a blue moon over the last 3 centuries. "Come on, Doc," Val said. "There's no such thing as a blue moon. It's just an expression. It means something rare." "Right," noted Jinx, "as in once in a blue moon." "Oh yes, there is such a thing," Doc replied. "It's a very real, though rare event. Whenever 2 full moons appear in a single month, the second is called a blue moon." Doc traced a finger across the diagram in a big arc. "As you can see from the chart, a blue moon occurs about once every 3 years. But this Halloween—" His finger halted on the darkest blue circle. "The planets and stars are going to line up in a freakish way to produce the rarest and most dangerous kind of blue moon." "Which is?" asked Steiner. "The Devil's Blue Moon." Dayla gulped so hard it sounded as if he'd swallowed his feet. "Okay, let's suppose this Devil's Blue Moon is real," said Wolf. "I still don't see what it has to do with us or the Halloween games." "You're just the right guy to ask that question, Wolf," replied Doc. "Me? Gee, thanks, Doc," said Wolf, extremely pleased with himself. Then his expression changed. "Hey, wait a minute. Why me?" Doc ran his eyes around the group. "You know how all of you as monsters are affected by the phases of the moon?" The 6 extreme monsters nodded. "Wolf here, for example, goes, well, a little loony during a full moon." "Do not," Wolf objected. "Do too," said Jinx. "You're not immune either, Jinx," Doc scolded. "Full moons always crank your spells up to extra strength." Doc paused. "I could go on about Val's lunar headaches and Steiner's muscle cramps. You all get the point, though. A full moon is nothing but trouble for monsters." "Am I missing something, Doc?" Val asked, scratching his head. "All monsters I know use the moon screen you invented. Just a dab on the skin and the full moon's no problem." "This time it will be," Doc said. He directed everyone's attention to the diagram. "Neither a full moon nor a blue moon has any effect on humans," he explained. "But it's a different story for a monster." Doc took a pen and circled some figures at the bottom. "Consider these facts," he said. "The rays of a full or blue moon boost the typical monster's powers 5 times, but a blue moon on Halloween is 2 times stronger than that. And a devil's blue moon is 50 times stronger than that. And a devil's blue moon on Halloween is 2 times stronger than that. By my calculations, the powers of all unprotected monsters at the Halloween games could increase 1,000 times," blurted Val, staggering backwards. "Could that really happen?" asked Steiner. "I'm afraid so," Doc said. On Halloween, the moon will rise full and gradually turn blue. It will stay blue for precisely 13 minutes and 13 seconds. Then it will fade back to white. What will happen during that time is anyone's guess, but I don't want any of you to be caught outdoors when it occurs. Won't the League's neutralizer wristbands protect us? Jinx asked. Neutralizer wristbands were special devices all monsters wore during extreme sports events. The wristbands absorbed and temporarily neutralized any magic powers a monster might have. It was the only way monsters and humans, who've been living and working together side by side for generations, could compete together fairly in the same events. Doc gazed at Jinx and shook his head. The neutralizers can only handle energy fields up to 10 times normal, not 1,000. The sheer power of a blue moon will cause their chips to blow like overloaded electrical circuits. You mean sparks? Mumford asked quietly. I mean huge ones, son, said Doc. They'd make a lightning storm look tame. What about your moon screen? Asked Val. My present formula doesn't work against blue moon rays, Doc replied. I've been working on a new formula, but I haven't had any luck so far, and time is running out. What about the League? Does it know anything about this? Asked Wolf. I'm meeting with the League president tomorrow, Doc said. I'm going to present my findings and request a delay. He scanned the faces of the extreme monsters. I'd like to take a few of you along with me. Your opinions carry a lot of weight in the League. Maybe together we can persuade them to avert the disaster. Val pursed his lips. He turned toward his teammates and said, This emergency goes way beyond our personal feelings. Every monster at the games could be in danger. I move we change our votes and support Doc's request for a delay. Agreed, shouted the monsters in unison. Then it's settled, Doc, said Val. We're behind you 100%. How about if Jinx and Wolf and I go down with you to League headquarters? Perfect, said Doc. He smiled for the first time since he'd arrived. Our meeting starts at 11 o'clock a.m. I'll pick you up at 10. Just then there was a sound of large wings beating the air. 2 long black feathers spiraled gently down toward the driveway. The extreme monsters ran outside and gazed toward the roof of the garage. A black bird had taken off and was flying away at great speed over the neighboring house steps. Anybody see what kind of bird it was? Asked Wolf. A raven, came a muffled voice from above. Val looked up. Mumford was sitting on top of his oak tree. Somehow the little guy had managed to untie a line of his bandages. He tossed one end over the highest limb and climbed up the makeshift rope in a matter of seconds. I'll bet it was Dateman's raven, Vincent, said Steiner. He was probably spying on us right from the beginning. Val gave a weary sigh. At that moment, he couldn't tell which emotion he felt more strongly. Sadness at having to give up the Halloween games, anger at Vincent's spying, or wonder at the secret talents of the young Mumford.